Kyoshi's like, it's been a while. Let me crack my knuckles. Let's go. You wanted a warrior, Zuko. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix's adaptation. We are now on to episode 2, which is called Warriors. First episode was really good. Like I said in the review for that one, we got our introduction to the world, we got our introduction to Aang and the main characters. We got to see how the bending looks, at least of three of the nations. So we've seen fire, earth, and air. No, we've seen all of them. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, and water. I mean, not the best of water, obviously, because we've got Katara. But yes, we've seen how all the elements of bending work so far, and it looks fantastic. And as I said in the last episode, I just really think they're doing a good job with the story exposition so far and helping us really identify with these characters, particularly Aang, which the last episode was named after. I think we have a good sense of who he is and also a good sense of what the Fire Nation is like, as well as Zuko, who, for those of us who are aware of the story, know that he's about to become a very important part of this journey as well. So I'm excited to keep going with this. We saw that our 3 main characters left the Water Tribe and they went to the Air Nomad Temple first, and now they are headed on their way to see what they can do to continue their journey. Aang has got to learn how to master the other 3 elements. That was what he was supposed to do over 100 years ago, but now he's got to get back to it because he realizes that the world's completely out of balance because he has been gone for so long. So that's how we ended the last episode. Ready to jump into this one. Just before I do, though, a reminder that if you'd like to be notified of when I drop episodes to this show and any of the other ones that I do, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And please be sure to send some love to this video with likes and comments if you're feeling it. All right, that out of the way, guys, let's get into the episode right about now. Bro, this is your room.
The notebook didn't find the Avatar. You did.
Period. You better let him know.
Ran.
Yeah, he did.
The ultimate warrior. He's a coward.
I don't know about
He's a
that.
child.
Maybe something in her shrine will help me control my power before...
Women getting it done. Relax, Sokka.
Besides, what good is saving Wolf Cove if we don't save the world?
Right? You are part of the world.
We do have a duty, and it's to protect the Avatar.
She said what she said.
You want to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
Before I met him, I couldn't bend enough water to fill a thimble. And now look what I can do. And that's after a single day.
Recognize. Sis said, I'm about to level up, bro. Keep up.
I don't know about you, but I can't go back.
She's like, I ain't gonna be no basic woman. That's never been my destiny, sir. If you want to be basic, feel free to go home without me.
Hey, that's our food.
Well, it was.
This scroll has been passed down among the waterbenders of our tribe for generations.
Yeah, Grandma being a ninja, sneaking that in when you weren't looking.
This never would have happened if we hadn't left home.
She's got a point.
Fine, we'll go to Kyoshi Island and see how it goes.
It's so cute that he thinks he's in charge.
My whole life, you were there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't there for you. Goodbye, Gyatso. I'm sorry.
He would have forgiven you. But the sad reality is that Aang likely would not have been ready to face the Fire Nation at that point. He literally had known he was the Avatar for about 15 minutes. So things happen for a reason. Bye, Air Temple. You will be full again one day. Momo's like, y'all got some good food.
Quail pole. Quail pole. Very good for vitality.
Yes,
Vitality.
of course. I was getting them regardless.
If word gets out, everyone in the world will be looking for him. I could lose everything.
Calm
Relax.
yourself, Prince Zuko.
Exactly. You think my man's that careless?
You must use your tact. Your
Tact?
empathy.
Empathy?
There she is. Giant scary lady.
She wasn't scary. She was just misunderstood. Y'all hadn't been misbehaving so much, she wouldn't have had to act the way she acted.
What? What's happening?
Watch out!
Hey!
Too late for you.
You are trespassing on sacred ground.
Yeah.
He's the Avatar.
Why would you announce that? Maybe it was his secret to
He
tell.
was the Avatar.
Kyoshi said, as a matter of fact, ladies, relax. I got this.
I think that might be a sign.
Maybe. Possibly.
We can't start making exceptions.
We're not just any visitors. He's the Avatar.
According to you.
I know I don't belong here. That's something I've been feeling a lot lately.
Hmm.
I can learn to be the Avatar. World where people were happier back.
He actually knows what he's talking about, and he's older than everyone in this room, so show some respect.
But if he is the Avatar, how can we turn our back on him?
Exactly. You really to accept that responsibility, Grams?
To know that there are many in this world who would take advantage.
That shouldn't mean that she shouldn't have a kind heart.
I just haven't seen the world.
And there's that. You can't keep your kids locked up forever.
I'm reminded.
Excuse me, Sokka.
I'm the guardian of my village, too.
Oh, yeah, are you?
You.
Whoa.
Yep.
Judgy. Ma'am.
So how are you protecting your people if you're here?
Good question.
I may not physically be there,
Aang's face.
but still,
Keep taking breath.
I have to save the world first.
Period. Delegation. It's a big part of leadership.
That is why I'm not just a warrior. I'm a Kyoshi warrior.
Educate him. How dare you diminish me to a role? They're like, you got told, son. That's why we stayed out of it.
Well, we don't get many VIP visitors around here, much less the famed dragon.
Yes. Recognize.
Very kind. Commander.
Zhao. Commander Zhao.
Mm-hmm.
At your service.
Zuko, he's such an ass. I can't. It must have been fun to act, though. Imagine getting to act like you're ticked off all the time, just for fun. Ma'am. Privacy? Does that exist on your island? Are you planning on eating something here, ma'am? Yeah, exactly. Let me have my nipples. If that situation had been reversed, ma'am, he would have been a pervert. Much better.
It's more than you could do before, right?
Exactly. Progress is progress.
You're a real waterbender, Katara.
You know, you should be practicing too.
He should.
Avoiding practice doesn't mean you'll avoid the responsibility.
Yeah. Can't run anymore. You had a 100-year break.
Gyatso used to be the one who trained me. Never really trained with anyone else.
Well, you were going to have to get a new trainer eventually anyway. Oh?
Or you could just let me use you for target practice.
Make it into something playful and Aang is always down. Thank you, Katara, for remembering he's a 12-year-old. 112 technically, but mentally 12.
Gotta admit, he has a way with people.
He's kind.
That's his real power.
Yay, the airball!
Bridges. That's how he's gonna be the Avatar.
Okay, Katara, you better talk about your future man.
And we lived in constant fear of the Fire Nation. There's a reason we've avoided that all these years.
Yes, but you've also avoided connection and how much the world could have benefited you. My girl said, I'm tired of the men in this village. I need something fresh.
He thinks he's found the Avatar, according to his crew.
You think the crew wasn't going to talk?
Gather any reports of unusual sightings in the last few days. Anything out of the ordinary, no matter how small.
Yeah, unfortunately, you probably should let Iroh do the talking, Zuko, but this wasn't going to stay a secret for long anyway. Ah! God! So sneaky!
I could run you through the basics, if you want.
She's probably going to do better at it than you. Just be prepared for that. She's letting me show you my instrument. Yay!
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
It was really good.
You're known more for our hand-to-hand fighting.
Oh, please. She's like, bring it on. I want a tussle. Right now, baby. Come on. It's foreplay. Not you limbering up. It's not going to help. Yep, she said enough time. Oh, tapped out so easy. I'm sorry, sweetie. You know, this thing with boys, they have to learn that, just because a girl might be better at them at some things doesn't mean it's any less masculine for them. It's a whole thing. Sokka will grow up eventually.
How do I stop the Fire Nation from hurting more people?
They're the right questions, but who's going to give you the answers, bruh?
I never wanted to fight, and I'm afraid of hurting someone. But I did have to train. Not to develop my powers, but to keep them under control.
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. Well, that's what y'all get for standing near the edge. That's not on Aang.
No one said anything, but I could tell. They were scared of me.
People do tend to be scared of what they don't understand.
Just like how you and Sokka were when I went into the Avatar state.
Hmm.
If I never learn how to control my power? How many
Okay.
people will I hurt?
But imagine
One
what'll
day at a
happen if you
time.
don't even try.
Exactly. The answer to those questions will be you'll never learn if you don't try. That part is the one guaranteed.
He heard something about a flying cow near Kyoshi Island, so he set sail at dawn.
Flying cow.
A flying cow?
Appa. I wonder if I got to keep those outfits, because I would love having that outfit. I would keep it forever. Pass it along to my children. You should copy the breathing. It's important. But good on you, Sokka. Got over your pride quick. Focus on the lesson, sir. Playtime later. That was an accident, I swear. It was a whoopsie.
Scared of my power. I'm scared of you.
Yeah, this is what happens in meditation a lot, actually. Things bubble up and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be peaceful right now. Maybe you ought to back up there, Qatar.
Hey,
Yo, God.
it's about time.
Jeez.
I didn't know how to reach you. I didn't know I could reach you.
I learned nothing. You see, even if this whole thing hadn't happened, I probably wouldn't have time to learn all this stuff because I found out 5 minutes before everything went crashing down.
There were times I thought I'd never find the Avatar.
That's what your dad hoped, sadly.
Because now the chance to go home is real.
There we go. Okay, Sokka, you're a quick study. This is a fast 48 hours, I gotta say. Yeah, don't get arrogant. And what exactly is this move for? How does that disarm my opponent exactly? Oh, her real face. There it is.
I think you're a real warrior.
Do you? Thank you.
Not like you.
Sokka's like, marry me.
We can't reshape mountains and burn forests, so we have to fight with what we have.
Period. But people don't necessarily have a natural talent others can make up for with dedication and effort. Oh, mama creeping. She's like, listen, I'm not ready to be a grandmama just yet.
The bell.
You hear it too?
We have to.
No, my guy thinking his heart was ringing. He's like, really? I thought we were falling in love. Aang's indisposed at the moment. If you could come back later, leave a message at the tone.
You need to be a guardian, a general, a mediator, a guide.
Only those?
Roles, and many of them, require unparalleled strength.
Did I mention I'm 12?
The Avatar state gives you the strength of 1,000 benders.
Yes! Power!
Knowledge of your opponent, knowing where he might go, is more important than speed.
You better let him know, Iroh. You're so smart.
Kyoshi Island has had an admirable history of staying, shall we say, insignificant.
Sure, if that's what makes you feel like a man. Why are all your homes made with such flammable material? Oh my God! Grams! That is your power?
Every avatar is different. We are shaped by the different demands of our times.
Facts.
I have to figure this out.
I know.
myself.
Welcome to growing up, pal. It sucks. They don't give you a map for this
What if I hurt
stuff.
someone along the way?
You're gonna have to at some point.
And how many have already been hurt because you haven't been hurt?
Oh!
And even more will be hurt.
Okay, I get
Being
it.
the Avatar means putting your duties above all else.
He's a child. He's a child.
And I will show you what will happen if you fail.
Oh, great.
Another race of benders will be wiped out just as the air nomads were. You asked me what it means to be the Avatar. It means being a warrior.
At times.
A mighty, merciless warrior.
Merciless? Don't know about that. Mama! You got double smacked by fans, ma'am. I need you to just deep that. Not them doing their little Mr. and Mrs. Smith routine. Okay, Sokka. You just won your way right into her heart and other parts. Nothing harder than a man defending his woman.
Your very presence in this world will make things worse. At first,
Yes.
hope
Oh,
does not
Katara.
come without a cost.
Her face looks so scared.
So what's the point?
You want things to be easy.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Life isn't easy, sweetie.
Avoid your duties any longer, and not only will you fail to save the world, you
You're gonna
won't
lose
even
everybody.
be able to save this island from the danger you've put them in right now.
My friends.
Ready to come back? I mean, it was weak, but it was still an attempt, and we love it. Oh, fire against water. Oh, good for you, Katara. You didn't know much, but you did the best with what you had.
I will show you what that power can do.
Thank you. My boy needed a boost. Kyoshi's like, it's been a while. Let me crack my knuckles. Let's go. You wanted a warrior, Zuko.
Impossible.
Oh, it is possible. She said, good night. Please get away from me, child. Yes, that's right. That's right, Kyoshi. You let them know. Been sitting there rotting in the afterlife when you's people you need to spank. You wanted the avatar, you knocked? You knocked? She's like, please try to take me on. I beg, please. I need a fight. Ooh, she said air and water, baby. Not the water lassos. Yes. Yes. Oh, she had a little sprinkle of fire. Yes, baby. Y'all will not be trespassing on her island no more. And a little earth in there. She's letting y'all know. She's letting y'all know. Get out. Get out. Get out. You still want to fight, Joe?
Go back.
Smartest thing you've said in your life. She's like, yeah, best day ever. Oh, poor Aang. He's gonna need a nap.
There's nothing here that we've lost that can't be replaced.
Very true.
And you've given us something far more valuable in return.
We got to see
A reason
Kyoshi.
to believe again. And in the Avatar.
That's you, by the way. Aw, thank you. No pressure. See, outsiders are not so bad, Mom. I mean, we're not gonna count Zhao because he's a loser.
Thank you, Sokka,
For what?
for bringing the world to me.
Look at that. She learned a little something from you too. Ooh, she said, let me just give you a little something to remember me by, sir. Treasure it always. Use it to fan away all the hoes that are gonna flock to you when they realize how important you are.
So this means you don't want to go home anymore?
Really? You're not rushing to head back just
Don't you
yet?
guys have all the fun? Nifty trick you pulled back there, channeling Scary Lady.
Yeah.
We need to get to the Northern Water Tribe.
Immediately.
Because something terrible is going to happen there. Something only I can stop.
No pressure again.
If Your Highness had been more forthcoming earlier,
More
we might have
excuse me?
avoided this misunderstanding. I hope we can put this behind us.
No,
And if you'll permit me, working together,
no.
we'd be able to devote twice as many resources to the hunt.
We would be honored to have your partnership and your loyalty.
Believe me, there's nothing more important than knowing where to place my loyalty.
Very carefully said line there. Oh, Zuko, I feel you, bro, but you do have to play the political game.
I have news for you of a critical nature.
Didn't even wait till daybreak.
That is why I can report an astounding
This
development.
throne room is everything.
The Avatar has returned.
Yes, he has. Hi, Fire Zaddy Ozai. Hi. He's evil. He's awful. My God. Terrible man. He's the bad guy. Naughty. Okay, guys. Well, that was episode 2. And again, solid episode. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I loved that we got to see Aang move on to the next step of his journey. What I'm really liking about what they're doing with Aang in this is that they're giving us a lot of information around how he's thinking, where his mind's at, how much he's scrambling with this huge responsibility. He's only been awake for a few days, we have to remember. And he's still trying to catch up with what's happened in the last 100 years. And again, just what it means to be the Avatar. And I just love that he was asking all the right questions this episode. Like, you know, what do I do? What does the Avatar state mean? How do I learn how to bend? What if what I do makes things worse? How do I make it better? I don't want to hurt people. Is there a way to circumvent that? Like, he's just asking all these really good questions that one should have to ask. And what's sad is that if he'd had more time to grow up and like live in the world, he probably would have learned some of the answers to this. And again, all the questions that he asked, for the most part, are not straight yes or no answers. A lot of them have to do with his own moral compass and what he would be comfortable with doing. And that's something he'd have to decide for himself is necessary. But all the same, he would have had or been able to learn those things if he'd had some time to just age up. But here he is, barely on the cusp of his teen years, with all this responsibility and having to ponder all these questions. But it also shows that he's a very mature thinker for his age too, because a lot of 12-year-olds are not on that level. Not to say that they're not capable of it, but let's be real, most are not thinking at that level. So it does speak to the level of training he already had and how he's using that for his own critical thinking. But yes, I'm loving that we're getting to see into his head. And again, when he arrived at Kyoshi Island here, talking to the people, talking to the elders there, his empathetic, humble, gracious nature. I mean, obviously it helps that he's an adorable little kid too. That's very disarming. But really, the way that he spoke to this village leader, like he wasn't disrespectful. He didn't have any attitude. The fact that even though he knows is the Avatar, he does not believe that, that's something that he deserves to be or that it makes him any more special. So he doesn't have any arrogance with that. He very much is just like, look, I understand where you're coming from, but I need help. Like, please, just anything you can do for me, just anything you can do to help. And just the way he was able to kind of get through to the leader of that island and her daughter. And we heard Katara speak about this later on when she sees him, playing with the kids. Because of course, if there's children playing, Aang's got to be there. But when Katara is saying to Sokka, like, he's a connective person, like his personality, his gift is that he is a person who can really empathize with people and connect with people and show people that he's an available person. And that's the kind of thing we need because, again, remember, we found out in the last 2 episodes that the nations don't interact with each other anymore. Everyone's often pulled off into their corners. And that, of course, is because the Fire Nation's war has pushed people into feeling like they have to defend themselves. And obviously, if you know anything about people who are, or I should say nations in the past that have tried to conquer or to colonize many places, one of the first things you do is stop people from being able to work together. You want divisions because divided, there's not as much they can do. If they all work together, I mean, the Fire Nation's one nation. Imagine if water and earth, and I mean, if air was still there, if they all combined, Fire Nation wouldn't have a chance. But keeping them divided like this, keeping pressure on them not to interact with each other is exactly why they've been able to continue to grow their dynasty at this point. And so what they need more than anything is connectivity. They need to be able to remember what it is to connect with one another, to actually interact with one another. And as we learn, we're going to learn as we continue through the series. And spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the animated series, you don't want to know about what's coming down the pike, then you can skip this part. But down the line, you're going to see that there are certain bending styles that complement each other really well when they're put together. So that's something that they've been missing out on for the longest time because they've had to just separate each other or separate themselves from each other. And 100 years is a long time. Like that's at least 2 generations, almost 3 generations of people. So there really is a loss of understanding how the other types of bending work outside of fire, right? That's the only common denominator at this point. So anyway, I really like that they brought out that Aang's personality as it is, that kindness he has, that empathy, that humility, that the fact that he does have 100 years prior thinking of not looking and seeing the worst in every nation, but seeing that they're all people who happen to be part of other nations. That mentality is needed for the amount of healing that's going to be required in this world after all of the segregation that the Fire Nation is imposed. So I really like that they kind of brought that in and integrated how Aang is going to inform and affect the future as he becomes the Avatar. Also really love the conversation he had between him and Kyoshi. I think throughout the series, they're going to do a great job of showing us how each avatar is so different based on a lot of things. Obviously, their personality is a good part of it, but their upbringing, their background, what nation they came from, and as Kyoshi brought out, also the needs of the times that the avatar was in. So Avatar Kyoshi, we heard a lot about her in this episode, about her being a fierce warrior, about how she was like this unparalleled force that people were scared of, and we see that her mandate was on the wall of like, without justice, there can be no peace. And justice, depending on who you talk to, justice is a very different thing, but it's a very hard way of thinking, one could say. Like, it's a very black and white way of thinking. And Kyoshi was very much a person who didn't really she wasn't a soft person, let's put it that way. She very much had hard lines. she put down her feet and she planted them and she was not moved. And she was very aggressive in the way that she handled things. But eventually we're going to find out, I think, maybe. We'll see if this show does it. But in the other animated series, we get to learn more about why she had to be that way. But I love that we see the difference where Aang is asking all these probing questions, a lot that he needed to know. And I like that Kyoshi at least understood the fact that Aang was not old enough to learn a lot of the stuff other avatars would have learned, like, for example, that he could commune with them. But I like that he was also just kind of asking, like, well, I don't want to hurt people. Like, how do I know what I'm going to do isn't going to make things worse? Like, how can I avoid all these things? And her mindset was basically like, listen, bro, things have been worse because you've avoided your responsibility, right? Now, again, we know he didn't purposefully avoid it the first time. However, she's saying at this point, your absence for the last 100 years, this is where we're at. Countless people have died. You almost lost the entirety of your nation. Like, you're the last one standing, and more people are going to end up in the same position as you if you keep thinking of avoiding your responsibility. Now, she didn't directly say that Aang had to hurt people, but she was basically saying you have to be a warrior. How you choose to fight is going to be up to you, but fighting is unavoidable. You're going to have to do it, and you can't keep trying to avoid, which it's interesting because this definitely feeds into Aang's background, being raised as a monk, this love of life, this appreciation for all life, this love of peace and aversion to fighting. This is where he is coming from. And again, it very much is with his personality as well. He was not the kind of person who liked to fight, but Kyoshi was basically saying, like, there's some things in life you can't avoid. Some situations you're not going to want to be a part of, but you have to in order to affect the greater good. But again, the point overall was that she told him, you're going to have to discover the kind of avatar you want to be. It can't be completely the way that I did it or any of the forebears did, because your situation is different and you're different. But either way, you're going to have to figure it out. Great conversation, great insight into the whole avatar situation. And again, more insight into Aang and a little bit into Kyoshi, which was also great. Loved hearing all the stuff around the Kyoshi warriors and how they represented the village. The actress who plays the leader, I wish I could remember her name, but she's been in a lot of stuff and I love her. It was good to see her again. Love the little love story there between Sokka and, oh gosh, her name just slipped right out of my head. But yes, his young lady there, how I love that whole experience as well that she talked about, of how she's lived on this really remote island her entire life. And she's always wanted to go out to the world, but she doesn't want to leave her responsibilities or her family. But then the fact that Sokka and Aang and Katara were there, even just for a couple of days, helped her to see that the world isn't as scary perhaps as her mother was trying to make it out to be, that there are good people, there are good lessons. And even her mom at the end of the episode, as she said, like, you've helped us remember that the whole world is not as terrible as it once was, and that we have to start branching out a little bit or even opening ourselves a little bit in order for us to grow and be better too. Great messaging there. Love that island. And yes, it was great to see Avatar Kyoshi come down and lay that smack down on those kids and get them off that island. And again, just give those people that renewed hope that what they've been training for and maintaining as far as her legacy is still very much intact. And then outside of that, we had a little bit of Zuko again. We got to see some more of the vulnerable side of Zuko this episode. Last episode was a lot of aggression and tantrums and attitude, which again, he's going to continue to have. But we got to see more of the emotion behind why he acts the way he does. And Iroh being understanding of that, and again reminding him that Zuko is a capable person, that he found the Avatar and did his own research and did all that stuff without the help of his books and his notes, and that, you know, he's waited 3 years to get this result so he can continue to wait a little longer to continue working towards his goal and being successful. And so again, I love the relationship between Zuko and Iroh. That's something you're going to hear me gush about a lot throughout this series, but I like that they're still maintaining how helpful and beautiful their relationship is and how reflective it is of just how great an older sage influence can be on a young and fiery spirit, right? And so, yes, we now have the introduction as well of Colonel Zhao. Commander, pardon me, Zhao. And yes, we're going to have some fun with that character. But I love the actor who plays him. It's good to see him again. All the names have flown out of my head, but I recognize him. And yeah, we see that Zuko has now got an issue here because Zhao is definitely a seeker of his own personal gain. And now that he knows that something as huge as the Avatar is out there, there's no way he's going to let that hand that over to Zuko, especially considering the fact that Zuko is in exile and not in his normal princely level of power as he would be if he was back in the Fire Nation. So yeah, Zuko's now got his own issues to deal with outside of the challenge of just trying to get his hands on this slippery little avatar. But oh, also speaking of getting his hands on him, that moment with Katara was so cute with her standing up to him with the one little water bending technique she learned. It was so cute. Oh my God, I was like, don't hurt her precious little face. But anyways, that was really well done as well. But I loved it. Showed a lot about Katara as well, that she's not the kind of girl to back down if it comes to protecting the people that she loves. And that's something both her and Sokka share, even though Sokka likes to talk a lot about running back home. He's never going to let his sister be in danger. And, you know, we're seeing that slowly but surely Aang is starting to work his way into that heart too. So again, fantastic episode. Loved it. Kept me engaged from beginning to end. I enjoyed watching it, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching with me. If you did, please show some love to the video, and I will see you in the next one.